Hello, everyone. Well, welcome back to the podcast where today's episode is going to be a Christmas special where I'm joined with Colin, and Colin has been in various different programs, but one that I'm very interested in, as Colin can probably see behind me, I've got a TARDIS. So I'm going to we're going to be speaking about Doctor Who. For instance, Colin has been in Doctor Who. So, Colin, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, my name is Colin Spaull, and I'm 67 years. Yeah, go on, say so. I don't look it. Thank you very much. Anyway, and I've been in most things that on telly that you may recall, things like like EastEnders, like the In-Betweeners, Inspector Morse, Holby City. Anyway, it just goes on and on and on. But I'm quite more sort of well known for my Doctor Who appearances, and I was in the classic Who a long time ago with Colin Baker, and then I was asked back again, and went back into it with David Tennant and Billy Piper, which was lovely to do.
Yeah. I think it was David Tennant's second series in Doctor Who, wasn't it? Well, his first series, but the second series of New Who, as they say.
Yes, that was the one. Yeah, the Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel.
Yeah. Did
Yeah, great fun to do.
Yeah, like how was it working with on set and everything, like with David Tennant and Billy Piper and everything?
Well, to be honest with you, if you see the episode, Rise of the Cybermen, Age of the Steel, you will see that I don't have any scenes with David Tennant or Billy Piper.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all. And but I met him. Obviously, I met him. I think he was around when we were on location up in Wales, in Cardiff. But yet never actually had any scenes with him. Not like when I did it with Colin Baker about 28 years before that, when I had loads of scenes with Colin.
Yeah. I guess it's good because, like, I think it was one of the first Cybermen stories for David Tennant in Doctor Who, and like I think your character was called Mr. Crane, I think, wasn't it?
It was indeed, and it was strange actually because I do all these fan events, the conventions, and I'm lucky enough, because of Doctor Who, to spend a lot of time in America doing conventions. And earlier this year, I was on the Doctor Who Caribbean cruise out of Miami, which they stick us on a ship and float us around the Caribbean for a week. It's amazing, and you meet these fans, and they're absolutely lovely. They're really so interested, and it's the fans that keep this thing going, and it's just great to do. And I'm always happy to talk to fans, and because if it wasn't for the fans, I would not be going around the world signing autographs and sitting there and chatting to them throughout, around the world. And funnily, one day a fan came up to me. I don't know where I was. We've been somewhere in England, and they said to me, "Oh, Colin, did they name your character, Mr. Crane, after the road you live in?" And I said, I'm sorry. He said, yes. He said, your address is Crane Avenue. I said, it is. I never even thought about it. I just happened to live in Crane Avenue at the time. I don't anymore. But how strange was that I didn't realise that I lived in the same, my road had the same name as my character.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but like you had, I guess your character was kind of mixed. Like you started off like with the Cybermen, kind of like with them getting converted, and then as it went on, you kind of didn't like it, and you thought it was all wrong, and then I think you got shot or you got deleted, didn't you? In it.
Yeah, I realised the error of my ways as Mr. Crane, and I thought that he was rather evil, a lunatic, which of course, I got a bit fed up with it, so I pulled out my earpieces and attacked him, and the neck and threw me across the room, and that was the end of me.
but I think that was quite like. If I remember, it was a bit like into the second part of the Cybermen story. So
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right.
You did pretty good. Like
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
yeah, because I think I think like in Doctor Who, just as a whole, we should appreciate like the characters maybe who not like are the main ones, who go in it and they play their part.
Yeah, yeah, a great fun to do. I mean, I'm so pleased I did it all those years ago, and I was even more pleased the fact that I was invited back about 28 years later to do it, playing a totally different character.
Yeah, yeah, and of course David Tennant is now coming back again.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Right, I'm just wondering whether Mr. Crane might come back somewhere. I mean, it was, yes, it's a possibility, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything's possible in Doctor
Of
Who.
course, absolutely, yes. Well, it was a parallel universe, so hey, I could come back.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's gonna be open to so many more different things now. Like
Yeah,
with like you got Russell T Davies coming back,
yeah,
who of course the one you was in, like the Cybermen
yeah,
ones, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice that Russell's back. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, because I've like David Tennant is like I didn't know this, Colin, but because like of course when you're watching Doctor Who, he's such a British accent, but of course he's Scottish, isn't that David Tennant, and
Oh,
you don't,
David, yes, yeah.
yeah, and when you're watching him as a Doctor, you don't really notice that, like that he's Scottish.
That's right. Yes, he doesn't use his Scottish accent. No, no, that's good. Yeah,
I found that really interesting when I found
yeah,
out. Um,
yeah. That he's a Scotsman. Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but a lot of doctors are now, aren't they?
Well, they seem to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but with Doctor Who, it like because of working like all those years later, because of course you was with Colin Baker, like how was you like? What's your thoughts when you got asked to come back with David Tennant?
Oh, I was absolutely delighted, obviously, and it was long enough for me to not to uh, reprise the part that I played with Colin Baker. That character was called Lilt, and yeah, and but it was a totally different character, so it was quite easy that I could come back and do that and play Lumig's right hand man, henchman, who's Mr. Mr. Crane. So yeah, it was great fun to do. I was so pleased to be invited back, and it was the same director, Graham Harper, which was quite nice.
All
And
right.
because I knew Graham Harper, we were at school together, Graham Harper. So I've known Graham in excess of 50 years. So the director. So yeah, so it was great to come back. Absolutely brilliant to come back. I'd love to come back again, maybe another episode somewhere along the line before
Yeah,
I get too old.
definitely. And like you're never too old to be in Doctor Who, like because
Well, precisely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because you
I
like
managed to work. I worked. Well, I worked with a lot of other doctors as well. Not in Doctor Who, but I worked with them. I made a film uh, with William Hartnell, who was the first Doctor.
okay.
I did a movie with him and a film for a movie, and then I worked with Peter Davison. I did a thing called The Last Detective with Peter, and then I did some Big Finish with Paul McGann. So what with those three and the two I actually worked with as doctors in Doctor Who, worked with 5 doctors.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because like when you have a character like a Doctor from Doctor Who, they seem to do good things after they've been in their role. Like I think like maybe speak for David Tennant for example. I think he was in one thing beforehand. He was in Doctor Who, but since then he does so much with different things and works with different
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Which is I think it's really good.
Yeah, it helped your career enormously. You get given great parts and everything because of Doctor Who. I mean, it's a good thing. We're like a huge family. I mean, I do all these conventions all over the world, and now we're all mates. You know, I mean, I'm great. One of my closest friends is Sylvester McCoy, and we knock around together. We do a lot. We do the cruise. We did the cruise together a little while ago, the Doctor Who cruise. Sylvester and another mate of mine, chap called Fraser Hines. And it's a big family, and so I know everyone. I obviously know David and Colin. When I see Colin at conventions. I see Peter Davison at conventions. Yeah, it's great. It's a big family. Great fun to do. Brilliant to do.
Yeah, it is because like you said, you've worked with 5 doctors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like it's really cool. Like you've done even a movie with the first Doctor, as well, because I think if it wasn't for the first Doctor, we wouldn't have Doctor Who even today, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a one-off children's serial which they made in black and white, and many years ago now, coming up for 50 years ago nearly now. And it took off, which was terrific. Yeah. Long may it continue.
Yeah, I hope so, because I like it's a massive impact in your life, like Doctor Who, because it affects like you said, the fans, but even so the people who are in it, because they
Yeah.
and it's really good to have they enjoy themselves, even like 15 years later. You've got people talking about like David Tennant, all those people still, and like you still go to these, like yourself, Con, and you go to all these places, and they recognise you maybe for 15 years later, 16 years later, for when you was last in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I get recognised now and again in pubs and various places, which is it's great. Always happy to chat with people.
Yeah. Like the Cybermen were I think they're one of the scariest monsters, I'd say, in Doctor Who.
Yes, and I do a lot of these conventions with a Cyberman called John Davey. Now John plays one of the Cybermen, and John, as far as we know, was the Cyberman that picked me up and threw me across the room. So so I always say that always when I'm with John doing a questions and answers somewhere, I always say I'd like to introduce you to the man that killed me as such. So he's got that's the reputation he's got now. You killed Mr. Crane. Yeah, it's great, and they are quite intimidating, the Cybermen. I mean, I remember when I first saw them, we were in Cardiff. We were filming on the docks in Cardiff. Freezing cold it was, and we were on the dock. And I came out my trailer. They called me to do a scene, and I came out like my little trailer, and 2 of them were standing outside, and they were really big, imposing looking blokes. It was quite intimidating. But then again, I've been lucky enough to work with 2 of the Doctor's most iconic of enemies, because when I was doing the one with Colin Baker, it was all about the revelation of the Daleks. So I've worked with the 2 most iconic enemy of the Doctor.
Yeah, I think you can have they could have chosen better to have you in a Dalek episode, Cyberman one.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Do you have a favourite monster, or is it just a Dalek?
I don't know. You see, they've all got their character. They've all got their they're all different. I used to quite like the Weeping Angels. I thought they were quite, in a way, sort of quite frightening. But no, there's so many different characters. The Oods or another one I thought was very good. There were some good ones. It's like Doctors. I mean, people say to me, "Who's your favourite Doctor?" Well, each person that plays the Doctor brings something new to the character of the Doctor. So it's difficult to say which is the best as such, in my point of view. I mean, they're all good. They all play the part beautifully and really well in their own way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like, I think you have maybe a connection to maybe for people watching it, for example, they have more connection maybe with one Doctor because they really like them.
Yes. Yeah.
And like for me, like it's hard to choose because they are very good in their own way, but I do very much like David Tennant because his episodes were not that no other Doctor's episode one is good, but I just get the connection to David Tennant more.
Yeah.
His Doctor, and
Yeah.
I did really like Matt Smith afterwards as well. Matt Smith was great too. But yeah, they're all really good, and I do have a favourite episode in Doctor Who. It was actually not. It might have been before or after the episode that you was in with David Tennant. It was called the Girl in the Fireplace.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that one where it was really good because like what I did this year, Colin, is I actually went to a couple of locations in Cardiff of what was
Oh
set in
yeah.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
yeah. Because I thought, hang on a minute, I might not be able to meet everyone in Doctor Who, but I could go to the location.
Yeah. Of course you can. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was brilliant, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. The one shame though was the beach where like the Doomsday episode where David Tennant and Betty Piper were saying goodbye and like Rose was going to the parallel universe. That episode on that beach they went
Uh-huh.
to. The day I went, the tide was in, and I couldn't really go on it, which was a shame.
Oh, bad timing on that one there, Mason.
Yeah, yeah, a bit bad timing, but I'm gonna hope to go again next year. I
Good.
do. I want to go to a few next year because it's really interesting how they do things because they do
Yeah.
very little time. Maybe there's so many locations in one episode.
Yes. Yeah. It's time is money now. I mean, we shoot as quickly as we can. Get it over and done with and move on to the next set.
Yeah, yeah. Like, do you like when you was on Doctor Who? Do you remember if it was like it took longer for the one where you was Colin Baker or was it longer with David Tennant?
Well, I get asked this question in so many times, and people say to me, "What's the difference between when you did it with Colin Baker and then when you did it again with David Tennant?" The difference being we had rehearsal time. We used on a Monday morning. We used to turn up at the rehearsal rooms in Acton. All the actors for that story. We'd all sit around a table with a cup of coffee, and then we would read the script. Everyone playing their parts. We read the script, and the assistant director would take a rough timing of how long the episode ran, and then we would then start blocking the scenes where how we move, where we go through a door, when we sit down, when we pick up a cup of coffee or anything. So we started blocking, and then by about Wednesday, after the blocking, you carried on rehearsing, and then on the Wednesday you should be off the book. You shouldn't be carrying a script around anymore. They should be inside in your brain. And that was then gave you the opportunity to build on the character, put more flesh onto the bones of the character, and then you would rehearse until Friday, and on Friday morning, all the technical boys would come in, lighting, makeup, wardrobe, and everything like that would come in, and we'd do a run for them, and then we'd probably get dismissed early on the Friday, and we were in the studio Saturday. We shot it. We had 2 days to shoot. When I came to do Mr. Crane on David's episode, I knew the way I was going to play the character, and I had a way in my mind the way I wanted to play that particular character, and I just hoped that the director and everyone else would like the way that I did it, because there was no time to work it out and make it bigger or smaller. So normally you arrive in Cardiff, and on the day of the shoot you get into your makeup and costume, and you go onto the set, and then you would have a read through of the line. You would do your lines with the other actors and a line run, and then there would be a camera rehearsal, and that would be it. We'd shoot. So there was no rehearsal time as such. So there was no chance of working with the other actors, and because if you work with two actors, you work on stage at the same time, you both bounce off of each other. It helps them with the way you say a line. It helps you with the way they say a line. And that's where rehearsals are just important. Every actor I know says they love rehearsals. That is where you build this character up. You just get a load of bones, and then it's suddenly he's flesh and bones, and he's a proper character, and that's nice. But we don't do it anymore. Rehearsals are out. You get camera runs, camera rehearsals, absolutely, but no direct rehearsals with everyone in a rehearsal room, anything like that anymore.
Like I guess like with rehearsing it's you have I guess it's maybe not as stressful because you practice like a good few times, I reckon. But like as you say now, maybe it's a bit harder than maybe it was before.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean, you by the time you have done a week's rehearsals, and because a lot of the lines you say corresponds with what you're doing, so therefore it makes it slightly easier to remember. Oh yeah, when I say this, that I'm actually walking across a room with a cup of tea. You know what I mean? That sort of thing all helps the building the character, and also helps putting it all into your mind. Yeah, that's the joy of rehearsals. You can actually build a character from that.
Yeah. Did from your time on Doctor Who, Colin, did you keep like a souvenir, like for example, maybe the earpieces, or was you able to keep anything?
I wasn't allowed to keep the earpieces, but a friend of mine who was involved in making them sent me a pair. I used to have them when I was signing autographs, I'd have them on my signing desk. You know, people say, "Oh, the earphones, the earpieces," but then one suddenly disappeared. I don't know whether someone decided to take it as a souvenir, and so I just got one left, and I don't take it anymore because I thought, well, it's pointless having one. I really should have had a pair of them, really. But yeah, and I do actually have the costume I wore, which the costume being a suit and tie and jacket, which I got from the BBC. So I've still got my costume, my Mr. Crane's costume, because I've worn this suit a couple of times at weddings or various things. So it's a very nice suit, in fact.
Yeah, and did you get to choose that yourself, or was it chosen for you?
I went out with the wardrobe ladies who took me into the West End of London, and we went round all the men's shops, and they suggested, and I said yes, I like that. Yeah, so it was a joint effort. They had in their mind how they wanted me dressed, which I didn't argue with. A suit and a nice jacket, and very smart. But I was able to say, "Oh, and I don't like that colour shirt, or I don't want that tie. Can we have this one?" So it was a joint effort, but it was down to them mainly.
Yeah. It must be. I guess I think that's quite fun. I guess like just going to get your clothes, but like for your character.
Yeah, it was good. I had to have two suits, exactly the same, and simply because when I was picked up by the Cyberman and thrown across the room, I was on a wire, and therefore I had strapped on to under my shirt and my jacket was a harness, and out the back of the harness was a little hook which they hooked the wire onto. So my clothes all had to have a hole cut in them, in the shirt, and then the jacket, and then the main jacket I was wearing, the overcoat. So I had two sets of clothes exactly the same, and because they hooked me onto this thing, and then when they threw me across the room, there were two burly guys on a machine which pulled me, and I shot up in the air and across the room.
Okay, yeah, it's really interesting, like to hear like how it all goes on, because of course when you watch it, you don't see any of that.
No, of course, no. It was all the wire was edited out, that was there, which was very cleverly done. But yeah, that's how we did that. That's how we did that stunt.
Yeah, like if I can remember, like from watching like the Cybermen episodes, I think like I remember when the music were playing, like there was music at some point in the episode playing, and I think you were dancing to it.
That was called "The Lion Sleeps Tonight."
Yeah,
that was the one. And someone said to me, "Did I choose the music?" I said, "No, I had nothing to do with choosing the music. It was chosen by the director." But everyone said so many times I've been given copies of that to sign, The Lion Sleeps Tonight and Whim Away, I think it used to be called when it came out. Yeah.
I imagine that was quite fun. You get to dance a little bit.
Yeah, you get to show the dance moves. Yeah. Dad dancing. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. It was I think that is one of my most favourite Cybermen stories.
Good.
Like I do, yeah, good because he was in it. But yeah, it was really cool. It's like the Cybermen were. I do like the design actually of the Cybermen in that episode as well.
Yes, they're good. Yeah, and so these conventions are just good fun. And I now, of course, I've got my autobiography out, which of course is available to buy. Just look at that. I actually happen to have
Colin
a copy.
Who? Oh yeah,
That's
awesome.
because what it was, I remember years ago, people said, "Why is it called Colin Who?" I said, "Well, it's not all about Doctor Who, but obviously Doctor Who is mentioned. But as a very young actor, I think it was about 17, 18, can't remember. And somebody said to me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" I said, "Well, I'm an actor." He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Colin Spaull." He said, "Colin Who?" And I've never forgotten that. And I thought that would be a good name for the book. That was the reason for Colin Who, but it also fitted in with Doctor Who as well. So, which was quite good, really. Yeah. It's available.
Awesome.
Yeah, if anyone wants a copy, it's Amazon. Just type in Colin Spaull on Amazon and autobiography. And if anyone wants it, they can get it there, and they can always contact me if they want me to sign it. And if anyone wants that, so.
Yeah, I think that it sounds really interesting. So is the book like about everything you've done?
It's about
you?
Yep. Since I started when I was a boy at drama school, people I've worked with, made films with, the ups and downs of the business, talking about theatre, which I love doing. I've done an awful lot of theatre, live theatre, which I find, and I think most actors find, that is the medium that requires more expertise, because when you're in the theatre, there is no margin for error. You go on that stage and you walk on that stage and you do your part. And if you if you forget your lines, there's no way you can say, "Oops, I'm sorry, can we do it again?" No, you blooming well can't, because you're on stage. So this is where you have to, and this is where the actor's craft comes in. You've got to be able to ad lib things that may go wrong on the stage, and that's where the actor's craft comes in. It is live theatre. When I did all my tellies as a boy actor, they all went out live. Everything I did was live television. But now, of course, it's all recorded, and you can do it over and over and over and over again until you get it right.
Yeah, it is interesting because I guess it inspires lots of people, because of course you said at the beginning you've been in various other programs, not just Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
So like EastEnders, you said, I think Holby City, Inspector. So it's really good that you put that all into one book.
Yeah, it's all about, and in the back of the book is a list of what I've been in. So people can actually say, "Oh, yeah, I remember seeing him in that," or it goes on like, oh dear, there's just pages of it. Zekhar's Blackmail, No Hiding Place, The Fellows, Wednesday Play, Gnomes of Dulwich, Elf, Less of the Bill, Doctor Who, Boone, Birds of a Feather, House of Elliot, British Empire, Goodnight Sweetheart, Morse, Judge John Deed, Last Detective, Citizen James, Television, Frankie Howard, Barney's My Darling, Crossroads, Coronation Street, EastEnders. It just goes on and on and on. These are just parts that I played in my career.
Yeah, it's. I think it's really good because so many programs that lots of people will recognise as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can see you're a Doctor Who fan. I can see in the background you have a police box, and you've got some little figures standing by another small police box in the corner there.
Yeah. That, what that is, Colin. That is a wardrobe.
Oh, right.
And above it you might see little pieces. They are the first 5 Doctors.
I see them.
And over here is there's a little TARDIS, which is actually a Christmas calendar. Which in front is Matt Smith and David Tennant action figures, and then above there you've got a couple of Teddy's K9, a Build-A-Bear, 13th Doctor, and 10th. So
great, yeah.
I do really like Doctor Who. Like in my spare time, I'll do some I'll act like because I like acting too.
Do you? Good, man.
Yeah. So I'll do a lot of videos with I've got my own 10th Doctor costume.
All right, good.
And I do that a lot on my spare time. I don't just do. I do various different characters sometimes. Recently I did one which the Dream Lord, who was in one episode in Doctor Who. So I do like to do that in my spare time, as well as doing this on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, mate. Oh, that's nice to hear that. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
And it's all because I don't know if you heard, or I don't know if you know, Colin, what Crohn disease is, because I have Crohn's.
Yeah, that's right. You said when you texted me, you said it's to do with the Crohn. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what that is, Mason. I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
What?
I can tell you a little bit about it if you like.
Yeah, and please do. Yeah.
So it stands for IBD, which is called inflammatory bowel disease. Which
okay.
Yeah, and in the bracket of it, so in the bubble of inflammatory bowel disease, you have Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And Crohn's disease affects, it's a disease, of course, which doesn't have any cure. So it affects everyone differently. So from your mouth all the way down to maybe your bum. And it's for me, I take medication to help, because you can get quite a lot of pain with it. And the medication I take, people with cancer can take as well. So I take, as you can tell, that really would dampen my immune system. And with of course pandemic and COVID, that wasn't really helpful. Because of it all. So I take this, it helps me, but the only annoying thing about it is that I can catch maybe other things more easily than someone that actually has an
vulnerable. My grandson is vulnerable. He's tube fed at the moment, so but he's getting on all right. He's 11 now. But it is difficult. It is difficult.
Definitely. And you speak about conventions, and I've never gone to one. I want to I really want to go to one so I can meet David Tennant, but the only thing is, because it's really long queues, and I don't know any way around of
I see,
for it, because it's hard, because you have to be in a long queue and quite close contact and quite busy as well.
Sure. Yeah. So what do you do for a living? Are you working at the moment?
No, I don't. So that is purely, I guess, because at the moment I'm just at college, still doing a little bits of that. But I in the meantime I do like doing this kind of stuff, like podcasting. So
great, that's brilliant, man.
It's really good. But within my Crohn's diagnosis, Colin, I was in my last year of school, and I was doing drama. Only there was this drama course where 6 of us in my year were chosen to do it, and I of course was in a lot of pain, so I couldn't go in for a little while. And my character was a multi-role character, so I was about 3 or 4 characters, which was very interesting, because you have to change, I guess, what character you're doing very fast.
Absolutely. No, that's good. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, multi-character. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it is something I would like to get back into. It's just because like health and everything, it always comes first. But
of course.
But drama is, it's like with acting Doctor Who, I love doing that. So I do that in my spare time, and
that's good.
one of the reasons I like it to snow, because a lot of good snow episodes in Doctor Who.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, like, especially like if you're having a bad day, I'll just put Doctor Who on, or I love watching it, especially Christmas time. It's good.
Sure.
It's a good way to relax, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely right, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we've got family coming over for Christmas, so we'll be busy here as usual. But fortunately, we last year, because I used to live in Twickenham in London, but we moved about 6 months, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and we're now in the New Forest. So yeah, the last time we had Christmas we had 18 people for Sunday lunch, for the Christmas lunch, which was an awful lot of people to cook for. But we've only got about 5 of us this year, so which is quite nice, and the dog. So we'll be all right over here.
yeah. It's a busy time, Christmas.
Yeah. What are you at home for Christmas, or
Yeah,
are you go? Yeah.
I'm home this year. Quite a lot of the time I do go away, but I want to have a restful Christmas this year.
Can't say as I blame you. Yeah,
Yeah,
can't say as I blame you. Very expensive, and got all the bills have gone up and everything. It's a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
yeah. It's really hard, isn't it, at Christmas?
Yeah.
Like getting people presents and stuff like that. So it's a tough time of year.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah,
So looking forward to next year. I'm
yeah.
going to where I'm off to. I'm going to Australia on the 17th of February next year,
Oh, yeah.
and my son lives out there now.
Okay.
And but they heard that I'm going to Australia, so I'm doing a convention when I get there. I'll be jet lagged, but there we go. So I'm doing a convention on the following day when I get to Melbourne, and then yeah, going out there for a month with my wife and seeing a bit of the country,
Yeah.
see my boy. Yeah, and then yeah, I was supposed to be in Los Angeles at Gallifrey, but I had to turn that down because I'm booked on the plane to go to Oz. So I'll go next year. I'll go the year after back to Gallifrey. I was at Gallifrey last year anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really fun. I guess, like, is this the first time you've been? Well, I guess it's not. Is it the first time you've been to Australia,
No, I went about 15 years ago with my dad. He wanted to go out and see an old friend he made out there during the war. And so I went with him. But now I'm going with Sally, my wife, and I'm going to see Elliot, my son, and his new wife. And we're going to see a bit more of Australia. My dad was on a walking stick and everything, so we didn't do a great deal of looking around. You know, we went to Sydney, and then I flew to Melbourne to see some friends as well. But yeah, so we're going to see a lot more of Australia. We're going up to see the Great Barrier Reef. We're going up right up top to Cairns. We're flying to Cairns at some point, and then going to go to. I'm staying in Melbourne, but then I'm going to Sydney as well to see another mate and some friends. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I get back in the middle of March.
Yeah, it should be a nice start of 2023 for you.
That's right, absolutely. And the garden will start picking up the plants in the garden. We've got a huge garden here, which is it's too big for me, but there we go. So the plants will be coming up, and the trees will be in bloom, and the apples. We've got God knows how many apple trees. And there we go. We'll live off apple pies.
You can't beat an apple pie.
No, love an apple pie. Yeah, my wife makes some nice apple pies. So.
Yeah, I enjoy apple pie.
Good, mate.
Yeah, I like apple crumble as well.
Oh, I like that, and custard.
Yeah, you can't beat some custard.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Probably one of my favourite desserts.
Yep.
I have to say.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to go to Australia one day because it sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's a blooming long flight. I mean, we're flying straight non-stop to Singapore, which is 13 hours, and then we're there for about an hour, and I think they're just refueling the plane, and it's another 9 hours to Oz. You know, so it's a fair old flight.
Yeah. The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, I don't mind flying. I mean, I'm flying all over the United States most of the time, which is great. I love doing that. But yeah, so I enjoy flying.
Yeah, I would like to go on a plane again. Like the last time I went, I think I went to France,
Yeah,
Toulouse in 2019. So it's been a few years. Um,
yeah.
like my first holiday was Scotland. I went to Edinburgh. That
Oh,
that
no,
was
nice. I love
nice.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. Very cold. I went in October, October time.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. No, I was in the theatre in Edinburgh, at the King's Theatre, Edinburgh, doing a play. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, great.
it's really nice there. Like I wore a kilt as well.
Oh, did you? Any?
Yeah.
Have you got any Scottish blood, or you just fancied wearing a kilt?
I think part of my like a family who are kind of Scottish. Well, no, not Scottish. Like their like names are Scottish and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, like it is. I do like it, but I like going to a place, but like I wouldn't like. I like to go to visit new places, not always go to the same place. I would
Sure.
maybe like you are there, Colin, like 15 years later.
Yeah.
So it's always good to change where you're going.
Yeah. Oh, I like traveling. I mean, just a few weeks ago, I was invited by a Doctor Who fan on a ship, and we went round. We flew to Venice, and then we got a ship from Trieste, and we went round the Caribbean, the Mediterranean for about 8 days, which was nice. That was about 3 weeks ago. So that was nice. Enjoyed that.
Uh,
Now
uh,
back home.
yeah, for Christmas.
Yeah, back home for Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, lovely.
yeah. But yeah, I think next year, something I do want to try and do is I want to go to like one of those kind of conventions and
Yeah.
like the top people I would like to meet. That's it from yourself. I've only met like I guess like you can count Simon from who plays
Yeah.
Dorian, of course. Like
Yeah.
I spoke to him last year, which
Yeah.
he was really lovely. Um, talked to him too. So I've talked to you too. And
Good.
like on top of my list, I guess would be the three on top would probably be David Tennant, um,
Yeah.
Matt Smith, um,
Yeah.
Doctor Wise, and companion wise would be the late Berman Cribbins.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to meet him, but it's quite sad when he
Yeah.
passed.
He's no
Um,
with us, longer with us. Yeah.
yeah. But like even just like companions like Karen Gillan, for instance,
Yeah.
Billy Piper. But one I would love to meet is Sacha Dhawan, who of course was the last is like the latest master incarnation in Doctor Who.
Oh,
Um,
right. Yeah.
because he has Crohn's too, actually.
Ah,
So he does a lot of things with Crohn's. And speaking about it, so I very much
good.
love to speak to him. But
Yeah.
of course, at the top is David Tennant, which I imagine he's very popular. But
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, he's on top of my list because I've kind of pictured if I ever did like see him, what I would say to him, Colin, and it would be really funny because I could tell you if like what I would say to him if I got
Yeah.
to meet him. Well, because of course he and Peter Davison did like that Children in Need episode, didn't they? Like
Yeah.
little Children in Need thing. And
Yeah.
what I would say to David is I I um I loved being you. Like kind of references what he was saying to Peter and like saying like you're my favorite and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Yeah. I mean, he's very easy to talk to. I mean, as I say, I've spoken to him a few times, but yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Like when you was on set, what was you able to go on the TARDIS?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I've looked in there and looked in the set. Yeah. Walked around the set of the TARDIS. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Like
course, I had to do that, didn't I?
yeah, you have to do
Yes.
that.
I had to do that. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Was you able to touch the console or are you not allowed to touch it?
Yeah. No, yeah, but if you're in the show, I mean, yeah, words and with visitors aren't allowed to, but I mean, I could, you know, pull a few levers and things, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because it's really interesting. I do really David's TARDIS console. I think it's really good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good. Yeah, it's great.
Like, do you still watch the Doctor Who at the moment, Colin? Like, do you keep up with it?
I must admit, I don't really watch Doctor Who that much. Quite to be honest with you, but I'm aware of it, and I'm aware of the new guy that's going to be taking over soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't really watch it on a regular basis. I will watch it now and again, but I'm not a huge sci-fi. I like sci-fi, but I'm not a huge sci-fi fan.
Yeah, yeah. Like like I guess because like I guess it's like anything, isn't it? Like if you watch it so much, or you may just want to have a change.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it is really I'm excited to see what happens in the future, because of course David Tennant is now the Doctor for a little while, so
That's right.
it's just gonna be sad when he of course has to go again.
I suppose so. Yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you
Um,
go.
because in my mind, what I would love him to say, because of course, you know, when he regenerated on the first time, he said, "I don't want to go." I would love him to say, "I'm ready to go this time," because it would be, I think, a nice kind of end, I guess.
Yeah,
They all come back in the future, but it'd be nice just to hand it over to Shooty, I guess.
yeah. A nice exit.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Be good. That'd be
yeah,
good. All
yeah.
right.
But last thing, Colin, but
Yeah,
before we kind of finish,
yeah.
I was wondering if you could maybe just if you have any, I guess, any last words, or any advice that you may give to other people, or anything, like just to finish off our talk.
Any advice on what,
Um,
Mason?
I guess just on maybe Christmas, or like maybe getting into acting for people who want to get into acting.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's funny you should ask that, because a lot of people do ask me that. And the only thing I can say is that it's a tough business. And I've been lucky enough to work in it for all these years, but it is hard. But if you're really determined, and you've just got to persevere, because you're going to be knocked back 9 times out of 10. You go for an interview and you're exactly right for it. It's happened to me. You go for a part that your agent said, "Oh yeah, this is just right for you," and you go, you don't get it. You go again, you don't get it. You go again, you don't get it. And just, if you're that determined, then you will succeed. But yeah, just remember to always turn up on time if you're an actor. Never be late, and that's it really. And learn your lines and don't bump into the furniture. is another thing that I tell. But no, if you want to do it, then you'll do it. But you just got to prepare for the knocks. You've got to have hard skin. Yeah, you will get knocked back, but it could all work out. And you won't know until you try. Persevere, 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 persevere. It's a good name for an actor, though, isn't it? Persevere.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. If you want to change your name, Persevere. Not bad.
yeah. Of course, as we were speaking about David Tennant, he had to change his surname, didn't he? I think to
I
Tennant.
wouldn't know, but yeah,
I
yeah,
I think, but yeah, people have to do that, don't they? Like
yeah.
change names in acting, for maybe a particular role, or where they're
Well,
doing it.
the main reason is that if your name is for argument's sake, my name could be Michael Caine. My real name could be Michael Caine, but I couldn't become an actor. They couldn't say I couldn't become Michael Caine the actor, because there's someone else is Michael Caine. So I'd have to change my name. Not a lot of people know that, and so yeah, so you do it that way. But my name is Colin Spaull, is my real name. I'm not. It's not a stage name at all.
Yeah, yeah, and like your Doctor Who, like Mr. Crane is named after your dress, is it?
Well, that's so not. It's not really. It's not. But someone told me that. I didn't realise that that my dress was that. I'd forgotten all about that.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. It was just a name that the author decided to call him, Mr. Crane. So
Is that all he was called, or did the character have an actual surname, or was it just
no,
called?
it was just his surname, Mr. Crane. And and that, funnily enough, I was doing a podcast for somebody, and they said, "What would you call it?" I know he hasn't got a name, but they said to me, "Colin, if he hasn't got a name, I know, Mr. Crane, but what would you call him?" And I said, "I'd call him Michael Crane." So, but there we go.
Yeah.
too much like Michael Caine, but there we go.
Yeah. Well, we'll call it Michael Crane then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Mick to his friends.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed coming on my podcast, Colin. I've really enjoyed speaking to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Mason. Thank you very much for having me on there, mate. And you have yourself a very nice Christmas and a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Lots of luck to you, mate. You take care. And it was a pleasure to talk to you and whoever is going to be listening to your podcasts.
Thank you, and to anyone listening and watching, that's actually what we've just said. We hope you all have a nice Christmas and Happy New Year. And yeah, it's been really good speaking about everything, like what Colin's been doing, and like if anyone does want to buy his book, Colin Who, like I guess you can like you could get in touch and of course Colin has said it's on Amazon anyway, so you just type it on Amazon, is that right, Colin, and you can find it?
Just Colin Spaull. Go to Amazon and put Colin Spaull autobiography or Colin Spaull book, but something will come up.
Okay. And just last thing, is that a pretty new book, Colin? Like is it quite recent book that
Yeah, it's about a year old now. It came out about May last year. So it's just over a year it's been out, and
Okay.
doing quite well. I'm going to take some copies to Australia with me and
Definitely.
see if I can sell some out there. Yeah, that's
Definitely.
it. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you
Thanks,
very much
Colin.
for having me on your podcast, mate.
Thank you, Colin. It's been absolutely. I've had a really good time.
You're more than welcome, Matt Mason. Yeah, more than welcome.